Hey. Welcome back to Empire Echoes. Charles, what's going on?
I echo you're
You
welcome.
echo, I'm welcome. Thank you. My name, as everybody knows, is Eddie Ravenscar, along with Charles Cook. And tonight we are all the way to chapter number 10. Can you believe
10
can you believe that? Yeah, this many.
is many.
This many. At next week I'm gonna have to take my shoe off to use my toes, to get to 11.
Or you could just do like that. Show it 11.
Yeah, that's not enough effort.
So are we going to take it like Spinal Tap, take it to 11?
Take it.
This one goes to 11.
To 11.
By the way,
Uh-oh.
the new movie comes out pretty soon.
Does it? I know it's
Yeah.
it's pretty soon. I just went and seen a couple movies this weekend. I went and seen Stephen King's The Long Walk.
Was it any good?
Dude, it was crazy. It really was. Everybody had told me differently. Oh, it's so hard to watch and the story and blah, blah, blah. And it's definitely not for young or people that are faint of heart, but
Sure.
it definitely told a story, and I didn't expect the end to be the end the way it was. So, but it's definitely worth seeing. The 2
Nice.
hours went by like that. And then the next night, we went and seen The Conjuring, the new one. So, and out of the two, as much as I love The Conjuring and being scared, I got to go with The Long Walk as being a better movie.
Yeah.
It was just one of them things.
Just 2 back-to-back scary movies, huh?
Yeah. And it's rare that, first of all, you get one scary movie that's any good that comes out, but to have two of them, dude, you can't miss it.
I mean, it definitely makes sense. Look at your backdrop on your wall. It says creepy coffees.
Right.
So,
Speaking of,
stay creepy,
absolutely. Which reminds me, we got a new sponsor, and
Did we?
I can't remember who the heck it is.
Wow. Well, is it creepy
well,
coffees? Oh wait,
nah.
that's yours.
Cheap
You
plug.
sponsor yourself. How's that?
I will sponsor myself. So let me look it up real quick.
Oh, Sticker Mule.
Sticker Mule, that's it. So the new sponsor is Sticker Mule.
Sticker
If you
Mule.
need Sticker Mule, yeah, they're freaking awesome, man, and they got such good quality that I've even gotten T-shirts and apparel from there,
Really?
and they're
looking them up.
freaking great quality. They've got hats, they've got stickers, they've got banners, they got just about everything you need. If you go down and click the link below, there'll be I believe it's 20% off that you get on any order, and free shipping over, I think it's $80 or $90, which can add up real quick when it comes to stickers. But it's on the website too. There's actually a little sticker mule on the website. You can click on that and it'll definitely take you right in, and it gives us our discount code on there. So check them out.
I need to send them an email though, because I searched Queensryche and there's no Queensryche stickers on their website.
Oh, they'll be there shortly. So
they need to be. That makes that a challenge here. Let's get those stickers on. Let's go.
I've got so much crap I've got to do when it comes to these stuff that I've ran out of time. I'm trying to get the podcast and the website and everything, but everything will be available here shortly. And the good thing is nobody's attacked me yet about being behind on things. Although we did have somebody posting some negative stuff on here earlier. I believe it was yesterday. Yeah, I took care of it. I'm not even going to repeat it. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I respect it. But when you start trash talking us or the band or whatever the song is, or the singer, preferably, we're not going to tolerate it, and you're just going to get kicked off and blocked. So we're here doing something that we enjoy and for the love of it. And if you have an honest opinion, please give it, but don't bash anybody doing that. If you don't like a certain singer or guitar player, that's fine. That's your prerogative. And I respect that, but you don't have to come on here, for a lack of better words, and be a dick. So don't be a dick. Anyway, Moving forward.
Yes. So, and I believe you found a really cool find just recently, a original press of something. I think you need to show us right now.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. That's going to be the next beat dial. Can I get a drum roll? Oh, no, I got the audience laughing instead.
They laughed at my joke.
That's it. I found the first printing. This is a original first release of the Warning. And
How'd you find that?
I just stumbled across it. I got lucky. I was in a small little town in Arizona, and I seen a sign that says used record store, and I had like 15 minutes until it closed. And I was like, well, okay, I'm going to go in there because there's two bands that I look for every time I go. Well, three bands that I look for: Blue Oyster Cult, Thin Lizzy, and Queensryche. Those are the first, always, three that I go and look for. And I just happened to go by Queensryche first. And as soon as I rolled the cue down, this was sitting right there going, take me, take me. So I did, don't you know? And they had a couple other ones, but they were in pretty poor condition. And there wasn't...
What albums?
They had two Rages, but they were the reissued. So they didn't want that, especially in bad condition. Sure. You know, I'm not going to spend the kind of money that they wanted for it in bad condition. And what else did they have? They had Promised Land that was really kind of destroyed. Most of the records for the Queensryche selections, they were all worn, which because they're good albums, they were played to death. But that was the
best. But the warning. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Oh, the other ones were worn, but the warning
got it.
Was not.
There we go.
See, I'm getting all the laughs today. That's all good.
There you go. You know, one of these days I'll figure out how to get those things on there correctly. But yes, the warning. That's just like the heavies, which the link is still down below.
Laugh for that one. Come on. That deserved a laugh. That was good.
Right? Jody, what do you think of that? Huh? You gonna
hey,
start
Jody. Yeah, that's right. I'll literally, I want to hear his opinion.
Absolutely. Jody, the good thing about Jody is he's very communicative. And after he listens to the show, he always texts me and lets me know what's going on. Looking forward to having him back on. It'll be a lot of fun because Jody's such a good guy. He's got a lot of knowledge, and it's just Jody's just a good dude. Bottom line. So today we are going to discuss Here in the Now Frontier by Queensryche.
Are we gonna do it right now?
Right now.
Do I hear you right? Right now?
Right now. Right now. So this album is really kind of bizarre. I don't know if anybody's seen the short that we put out earlier, but doing my own research, I know you did a deep research, so we're going to let you go on that. But I noticed that this kind of was like a division. It put the final division in there between the fans, I guess you can call it. Look at the first song, Sign of the Times. The time that they were in when this came out, grunge was just everywhere. You know, you couldn't go anywhere without grunge in your face. So I get why they went down this avenue. But was it groundbreaking or was it a misstep? That's what I'm curious. And I hope when we're done with this, everybody will put their opinions in and say what they think. And I really would love to know what everybody thinks about this because to be honest with you, like when you and I talked about it earlier and what we were going to do this week, I hadn't listened to this album in years. It definitely did not resonate with me, and I honestly, I was almost dreading the fact that I had to listen to it. And if I remember correctly, I think I even said that to you. It's like, oh God, that means I got to listen to it again. Because there's a few songs on there that I did like You, which we'll talk about. But there's also some on there that just didn't hit for me. And there was one surprisingly that struck a hard chord with me that I absolutely loved and wish the rest of the album sound like, which we'll talk about that too. But it's a decent album for the time period it came out. There was just no way that it could have survived. It wasn't strong enough. It doesn't sound as good as, you just come off of Mindcrime, Empire. Promised Land was a dark album, but it was still strong. It was still right in your face. This one, the production on it, I think, and just my opinion, it just seems off. It's almost as if they were rushed. I know that they were with EMI Records, and I know that they went bankrupt and their funding was gone.
They merged with Virgin Records, actually.
Right. And I wonder if that had something to do with it, or if the producer, Toby Wright, he's the one that produced it. And it was recorded, most of it in Nashville, and the other half was in Seattle over at Stone Gossard's studio up there called Litho or however he calls it. And I wonder, had they gone back to England or someplace over there and did the recording over there, what it would have sounded like, if it would have been true Queensryche, or were they really trying to be groundbreaking? Because
right,
in my opinion, this one missed. It started the major decline, in my opinion anyway. What do you think?
Well, you brought up some good points, and I want to tie what you said to what their influence was. And if you look at Toby Wright, he was the one that engineered and mixed it.
Right.
He had
Correct.
just recently came off of working with Alice in Chains.
Alice in Chains, right. And if you
Look
think
at that.
about
So
it,
that's grunge, right? In its own sense.
But what album of Alice in Chains did he just come off of?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Because if it's Dirt or the one before, those are hard albums. Even the one with the three-legged dog on it, that's still a dark.
That one's my favorite album for sure.
Right, with Tippy on it, yeah, that's a hard dark album. And to come off of that and to put this out, it's what happened, what missed. It's almost as if he came off a Jar of Flies, because Jar of Flies was just an EP.
So the Three-Legged Dog album, I think it was just literally self-titled Alice in Chains. That was the one that they just released, and then they went in to work with Toby Wright. And then also, here's another interesting correlation with, if we're talking about the Queensryche sound here and it not sounding like Queensryche, it sounds kind of like, actually when I listen to this album, it kind of reminds me they sound like if Queensryche was trying to impersonate Foo Fighters or something. That's what it kind of sounded like. But so they partially recorded this album in Seattle,
right? At Litho Studios.
But it's it was the home studio of the Pearl Jam guitarist.
Stone.
So you look at Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains. So look at the musical influence that's surrounding Queensryche. It's not even that those genres of those bands had no business being with the Queensryche name. When you think of the Queensryche name, you think of like Metallica, or it's hard to even put a band that Queensryche should have been with. Honestly, they really should have just been hanging out with Dream Theater, because Dream Theater was actually doing something in the 90s. That's when they started, right? But I think what would have happened if they went to England and recorded that album? I think it would sound different. I do
too. I think it would have been a whole lot better. And a perfect example is the song Spool. If you listen to Spool, it doesn't sound finished. it sounds like a weak demo that you go in and you play it and you build off of it. It sounds like a demo. It sounds unproduced, and it's almost as if, and I mean no disrespect to Toby Wright or the band or anything, but it's almost as if they just settled. They knew EMI was going to go under. They needed to get an album out to make a commitment and to pay bills, and they just settled because
what's interesting about them as the band Queensryche, this was their last tour, being able to play in big arenas and larger amphitheaters, and because of the EMI Records bankruptcy, which later merged in with Virgin Records, because of that, Queensryche was actually forced to use their own money to finish out the tour.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I mean, when you think about that probably put a lot of hardship on the band. Trying to pour your own money into putting on a show and paying the crew and
that goes back to the point, did they have the finances and the funds to record this? Because if they didn't have the finances and the funds to spend the time in the studio, then I can see you getting a subpar product. But if they had the funds available still and they were able to take the time, personally, I think it was their location of where they recorded it, like you had brought up, that's what tanked it. Is you had too many outside influences, and you had Chris DeGarmo already upset and the conflict that was going on there, and shortly thereafter, Chris DeGarmo left, and
he did want to start flying. So there's no secret that one of the song titles is called "Some People Fly." Do you think he was just daydreaming about wanting to be a pilot? I wonder.
Yeah,
and another song called "Miles Away." That's another song.
But like, if you had to pick your favorite song on this, what would you pick? It's tough.
Can I say there's three favorite songs?
Can.
There's three, but that's very tough for me on the spot to say, oh, I like this song the best. Now, most people probably say, oh, You is my favorite song. Well, now, there's no secret that You is the Queensryche sound through and through. But Hit the Black, man. That song hits hard.
Right? And
it's
why?
It's not the standard Queensryche song, but it's hard hitting. And
why is it at the end of the album? Yeah. Why not come out with that instead of Sign of the Times?
Another song I love too is Anytime Anywhere. Like that. Yeah. That song is a great song, and so those are the three I would say would stand out as being my favorite song. But this may be controversy with all you Queensryche people out there. I actually think this album is underrated, and I like it. Yeah, I know. You heard it here first. I did not tell you this before.
You're just full of surprises today.
Yeah, this album is actually underrated, and I would say that I prefer it over Promised Land.
No,
know,
you
Jody,
didn't say that.
Jody probably has something to say to me right now. He's gonna
Jody,
cancel me, and I'll probably get a text from him, and I'm gonna have his number. He's gonna find it somehow. Right. He's gonna text me, and I'm gonna know it's him. I'm just calling you right now.
Our subscribers are dropping really fast now.
Oh no, but I don't know. I just felt like there was with the exception of maybe like 2 songs in this album.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Let me backpedal here and let me defend my case. Now, my reservation with Promised Land is I felt like the energy level of Promised Land wasn't there because they were going for a deeper creativity, and so like I got lost in like, am I listening to a Tool album right now or am I listening to Queensryche? That's what it felt like. Because
you can't compare that to Tool because there's
no. I'm not saying a Tool like, oh, that's Tool's music. I'm just saying when you listen to a Tool song, you kind of fall asleep because it's kind of like you're waiting for something to happen. Right. Now, Queensryche, that album was good, but I was waiting for more. I was expecting high energy, and it took a little bit to get there. Right. Now, with this album, with Here and Then on Frontier, I feel like every song, with the exception of like 2 songs, had that consistent energy, and I was like upbeat, and I was like, okay, I can listen to this, and even though I'm like, okay, these chords are not Queensryche chords, and there's barely any like harmony like the Queensryche sound you get, I still felt like it kept my attention. Now, is it my favorite Queensryche album? Absolutely not. But if I was to say, okay, on the attention scale, what stands out more? And I would say Promised Land over, Here and Then Now Frontier over Promised Land in terms of what album kept my attention. Now, there are some things I will say about Promised Land that I echo with you. Haha, get it? Echo. Laugh. Get the laugh in there. The laugh died out for a second, and then the laughter came in to save the day. But yeah, I would say that these later Queensryche albums, they have the pattern of starting with the not so energetic songs. Like you're saying, like some of these songs at the end, they should have put them in the beginning.
Right.
We actually talked about that on a few podcasts ago. Maybe last week's episode we were talking about the set list, which I love that show. Again, we're going to do some more shows like that soon. Little sneak peek. Any fantasy football or people out there has ever played fantasy football with like a live draft? I have this idea coming where me and Ravenscar are going to be head to head, and we have the whole Queensryche catalog, and we're going to go back and forth and pick a song for a roster of songs that we get to play. So, like, I may want the song Warning, but he took it, so I can't use it anymore.
Oh.
I know he's going to get London.
I'm
Like,
definitely
that's fine. He
going
can
to
take
get
London.
I'm going to get Walk in
be
the Shadows, too.
You know, but there are some certain songs that I may pick that I know he wants, and I know he may be upset, and there's probably songs that he knows that I like that he's going to take, but that's the joy of it, of picking. So we're going to do more episodes like that, so stay tuned.
That'll
a little
be fun.
Queensryche
That's a good idea.
mock fantasy draft of popular rosters or just any Queensryche song. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I think Queensryche fans are going to enjoy it, especially the fantasy football people out there. You will definitely enjoy that. But this album is, I wish I could go in there and rearrange the songs how I would have wanted it. I think, man, Hit the Black would have been a great way to open this album. Like
Absolutely. That would have set the tone. And that first, wow, 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 wow. It just...
Even You would have been great.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Maybe at number 2 or something.
Number 2, I think Hit the Black first, then You would have just set the... And then Sign of the Times coming in at number 3. Sign of the Times isn't a bad song. If you listen to the words, I get it, and I understand what they were saying, but it just, to open an album, especially coming from Promised Land, it just, I don't know. And then Spool,
which I don't think they've played Spool before ever live. I was reading that.
I don't think
they
so.
have not played it, and I don't think they've played Cuckoo's Nest. But actually, Jeff Tate did play that on his solo tour stuff. So it has been played out in the world. Now, I actually like Cuckoo's Nest. I think it was a pretty upbeat song, and some of these songs on here kind of remind me of what they would go on later to be with Q2K and some of the other albums to follow. It's kind of like that newly defined Queensryche era that we would get going into the 2000s. But
I just don't think it was finished. I really don't.
Well, I think it's all about influence. Like you have a point. Like they were surrounded in that grunge era in Seattle. I mean, Seattle was the stomping grounds for anything grunge going in and out. So it's
you're
going to
be
look at the 80s.
By it.
Look at the 80s. Like you're surrounded by those type of bands. So
not to cut you off, but Jason Seaver, shout out to your daughter.
I'm not sure.
Jason will understand it. So
nice.
His daughter's a big wig over at Dutch Bros, and she goes around and she sets up stores and opens stores for them. He had mentioned it a little while ago, and he sent us some stuff. And I was just giving a shout out to his daughter and to Dutch Bros.
Oh, nice.
So,
I'm just like, I don't think this is a musician. I don't think. Yeah. So you all witnessed on air my confused face. What's happening right now?
Yeah, sorry. There we go.
Everyone come laugh at me. That's right. I was creating all the jokes, and now I'm the one being laughed at.
That's it. There
That's
you
right.
go.
But yeah, it's just crazy to think if we've now reviewed every single Queensryche album, and it's just amazing.
Finish that sentence because we haven't reviewed every single album. We've reviewed every single Chris DeGarmo album.
Yes. Yeah, we
And
definitely...
not to cut you off again,
Yeah.
and if you look at the tracks and who wrote them, Chris DeGarmo is on every one except for Reach. And that song shouldn't have been on there anyway.
And then there's a bonus track on the record as well called Chasing
Blues Clues. Yeah.
Blues Clues? What?
Blues Clues, yeah. When
what are you
you
talking
were
about?
Chasing Blues Clues. When you and your brothers
Blue
were
Sky,
younger, Blues Clues was a very popular show
Yeah, I
for
remember
kids.
watching that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one day we were driving from Columbus to Cleveland, and we had this old ratty van, and we were listening to Queensryche. And your brother, Timmy, he was really young at the time and loved Blues Clues. And the song came on, and it's Chasing Blue Skies. Well, he thought it said Blues Clues. So he started singing through the whole song, Chasing Blues Clues. And from that point forward, that song was Chasing Blues Clues. So that's
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's one of those things. Timmy,
I did not
if you're
expect
listening.
this conversation.
Yeah. Timmy, if you're listening, come on and defend yourself. So
Yeah. Chasing Blues Clues. Yeah, I want you to solve this mystery right now.
Well, now, every time you hear that song or anybody listening hears that song, they're going to think Chasing Blues Clues.
Wait, which song? You or Chasing Blue Sky? You said
Chasing Blue
you.
Sky. Where's the laugh track? There it is.
Yeah, here it is. Now, so Chris DeGarmo prominently still wrote the Queensryche material, but
he's on
I don't know.
everything
It's just,
except for Reach.
It just pains me to think that the quality of Queensryche was known for the dueling harmonies, the progressive, the edge, like they don't sound like any other band. That whole you can't place them in a certain genre type of sound to now they're here in the Now Frontier.
Right.
See what I did there. I did not mean to do that, but that's another one. Anyways, we don't need a laugh track, but if you want to, go
I'm going to get the for next week.
But it's just, it saddens me as a Queensryche fan because I wish they would have kept going and Chris DeGarmo would have learned to fly and maybe he would be the pilot for Queensryche, just like Bruce Dickinson was the pilot for Ed Force One. I mean, that would have been
interesting.
Cool.
That'd be interesting.
That's really cool thought, but I don't.
Thinking about it after hearing you talk, you can almost, because I'm looking at the songs and I'm looking at DeGarmo Tate, and he's on every one. And you can almost, by listening to the sound and the songs that are on this album, you can almost hear, I've heard the term, he was burned out, he was disgruntled, and you can almost hear that. It kind of makes sense. If you're burned out, you're just putting stuff out there to make do, to make your commitment, and maybe that's what was going on. Maybe that was the best he had at that time. He was just fried, and you can't knock him for that. So, you can only handle so much.
Yeah, if anyone's going through any sort of burnout when it comes to their job, or, well, in this case, Chris DeGarmo's job was Queensryche. So, yeah, he was the disgruntled employee feeling burned out on the job. So, yeah, I totally get it if you put it that way. But it's, as Queensryche fans, all of us, we wish they would have continued because let's just say that every single album was the level of Operation Mindcrime. That's a lot of pressure on a band to try to reproduce that sort of lightning in a bottle like Operation Mindcrime. I don't think any band can
Oh, that's the next sound
recapture it.
effects we're gonna do is the lightning bolt. So, not to cut you off, but that's
No,
gonna be
you're
there.
good. Hey,
So-
it's okay. Here on the podcast, we like to have fun, and
Sure.
when we have random ideas, we just
Put them
say
out
it
there.
out.
It's like
Put it
the
out.
apple on the tree. I reached up and plucked it down.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway,
but it's a lot of pressure on a band to try to reproduce an album like Mindcrime. It's
right.
They went from the EP to The Warning to Rachel
Rage.
Order to Mindcrime to Empire. Those albums, it was
They're blocks, building blocks,
Yeah.
and they're just getting
When-
bigger and bigger. And
when you think about Queensryche, it's like they're a theatrical band. So
Sure.
that polls look at a movie. When you see a sequel to a movie, it's almost like, okay, this is
it's
probably
gonna
not going to work
suck.
out. It's not going to be
Yeah.
as good. So, but when you look at Queensryche's albums, they got better in that time frame. And when they came off Mindcrime, there's a lot of pressure for them to write Empire.
sure.
And luckily, they took Mindcrime success and they were playing it in its entirety on the Building Empires tour. So they're riding that wave. I just felt like they had a mathematical equation of how to be successful as Queensryche. They've had it. They figured it out. They should have just kept plugging in that equation to get music. Because
Sure.
look at the band now with Todd. Todd LaTorre is back, and it's that Queensryche sound's coming back. So if you imagine they would have just kept that sound going through, who knows what the 90s would have been if they would have played that. There's probably a lot of pressure from record labels saying, no, you guys have to go with something modern, with people aren't going to accept it. And I mean, it's true. If you have a boss like a record label in which they're providing you money, it's kind of hard for you to go off
Right.
and do your own thing. Now, Dream Theater did it, and look at where they're at. They try to get pushed around the 90s by a record label, and Portnoy said shove it, and
Yeah.
that was on the what was that song album with
6 o'clock on a Sunday on Christmas
no, it's the
morning.
one after that, Falling to Infinity.
Okay.
They had some record label differences, and they were like, after that album, they're like, forget it, we're gonna do our own thing. Now they actually on the Falling into Infinity album, they actually did end up doing some of the stuff they wanted to do, but for the most part, they were kind of being bullied by the record label. So I can understand Queensryche's maybe pressure that they were getting, not only feeling pressure to write a good album because they built that success for themselves, but probably the pressure from the label. So
No, I totally understand what you're saying. You want them to have something you can promote, so you're on them, absolutely. And the pressure's there. That's the name of the business. You're only as good, that I hate the cliche saying, you're only as good as your last record or the last album that came out. And it's sad, but it's true. You're only as good as your last release.
like the Metallica
And-
song "Sad But True," that's a great song.
Yeah, well, it's Metallica. So
Yeah, that's a great song.
yeah, all their stuff is pretty good. So, but
Well, that was Here in the Now Frontier.
yeah, that it was.
We made it through every single DeGarmo era. Well, technically not quite, because DeGarmo did come back during Tribe and wrote some songs, but he did not remain in the band. Imagine what kind of tease that would have been.
Yeah.
To be like, DeGarmo left, and DeGarmo's back to record, but then doesn't actually tour or stay. That would have been awesome if he rejoined, but...
Well, look at Q2K. If I'm not mistaken,
I do like that album, actually.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he's got some credits on there as well. He wrote a couple songs.
It's just like members that came on to replace Chris DeGarmo did a good job as well. I believe Kelly Gray came in and replaced Chris DeGarmo, and then Mike Stone, and then later Parker, and then we have Mike Stone back in the band
Right.
for this modern day era of Queensryche now. But Chris DeGarmo built something special with
Sure.
Queensryche, and I don't think there's any other band that could touch the magic that they produced and the fan base that they created. And look at us. We have a whole entire podcast about Queensryche. because of DeGarmo's influence and what he did. The albums that we love that are our number one albums, and some of you out there that shared your favorites, the reason belongs heavily to DeGarmo. Now, there would be no Queensryche without the voice of Jeff Tate, that 4-octave range.
It's amazing.
Magic
Yeah,
there.
he's
But DeGarmo, he just had that writing power. When you look at Michael Wilton, he was the riff machine, which, why Queensryche can still exist, because they still have a piece of the pie, the piece of the equation, Eddie Jackson.
With the thunder.
Too.
Just...
I don't think there'd be another bass player that could replace Eddie Jackson. There's no way.
I could.
You could? Okay. All right.
No.
Well, if for some
close.
reason, they did say that in an interview just recently, this past year, they said that they want to keep doing Queensryche up until their 80s.
That'd be cool. I'm all right with that.
Yeah. So I don't think Eddie Jackson's going to be leaving anytime soon. Sorry to disappoint you.
That's okay. Honestly, there's only one song by Queensryche I know, and that's Jet City Woman. And I don't want to learn the rest of them, because I found out when I'm learning a song, I'm not enjoying it anymore. It's like a job. It's like business. You're like, if you work at Wendy's and you love Frosties, you start to work, you get a Frosty every day. After a while, you don't like Frosties anymore. So I don't try to play Queensryche songs, because I want to sit back and absorb it and enjoy it and
take it in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so good. Such a great band. Every one of them are aces as musicians. Past, present, and whatever's to come. I think that they're top notch. They really are.
Yep. And we thank all of you out there that have chosen to sit through our entire podcast and listen to us blab about one of the best bands in the world. Thank you so much. And please tell any of your other friends that love Queensryche too to check out our podcast wherever you get podcasts, on YouTube if you like to see what's going on, or if you want to listen to us on the way to work, or from coming home for work, or you're out on Sunday messing around, or whatever it is. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. We thank you so much. And the Queensryche fan base will never die out, because we know what Queensryche means to us, and we, as this podcast platform, want to share experiences. So if you want to come on and join this show, message us, text us, email us. We love to hear your stories and how Queensryche impacted you. And if you even have photos, we'll share them on the show. And we want to get as many experiences as possible shared, because the more voices we have, the more echoes we'll hear across the Queensrÿche community. Do you see what I did there?
I see what you did
there. I think it
there.
deserves a laugh track.
That was brilliant right there.
That deserves a Nobel Prize or something in the podcast world or something.
So, and don't forget, check out our website, EmpireEchoesPodcast.com. We're on Facebook everywhere. We're on Instagram.
Facebook's going to see this podcast one day, or someone, and they're like, what is he saying? Every show you say it.
It's facial.
Sorry, a little outtake here.
That's it.
All right.
It's in your face.
All right.
That right there, that's a shout out for Tony from La Vida Loca. In your face. So, but anyway, yeah, check it out. Make sure if you need stickers or merch or anything, stickermule.com. Check them out. Get yourself some cool stuff. We just got a whole stack of new stickers, the clear vinyl ones with the new logo, the EE and everything. If you want one, send us an email with your mailing address at contact at contact at EmpireEchoesPodcast.com, and we'll send you a free sticker, maybe two.
Shoot, I want one.
Excuse me. Of course you do. Maybe two, maybe three stickers, but only while supplies last, and I've got like 200 of them. So
Sweet.
If you want some, reach out, let us know, and I'm happy to send them to you.
So cool. Well, hey, this is a great episode. I feel like it's time to release our Queensryche fans out into the wild. What do we say when we end this podcast?
Stay Echoed.
And Reich and roll. It's called Hit the Flat. Queensrÿche. I think Live Evolution, you opens like that.